Hi, I'm Aubrey Going, and today we're going to talk about repetitive overuse, particularly in how it relates to therapists and body workers, but equally could apply to anybody who does a lot of hand or arm intensive activity, or even spends a lot of time sitting at a desk. So part of the problem is that we can get nerve compression or nerve sensitization in a number of different places. So there's quite a few muscles that are involved. We're going to look at the path of the nerve as it travels out. There's a group of nerves, 3 different nerve branches that come out of the neck that travel out between the muscles in the side of the neck. These are scalene muscles, underneath the collarbone, through the front of the shoulder, down through the arm, and eventually into the hand. So what we need to look at is which muscles are likely to be tight and compressing these nerve structures, causing sensitization, and then how to stretch each of them in turn. So first of all, we're going to look at the scalene muscles, these muscles in the side of the neck. There are 3, but we're most concerned with the front 2. So we have an anterior to the front, a middle, and a posterior scalene. Between the anterior and middle, there is an opening for the nerves that travel out and feed the shoulder and arm. This is called the brachial plexus. And this nerve cluster can become compressed as it exits between the anterior and middle scalene. So here's a very simple stretch. What we're going to do is bend the head to the side for just 2 seconds and come back. We can assist slightly. Now the pressure I'm going to use here is very, very light. So I'm going to lean to the side and slightly increase the pressure. You can see I'm only using like 1 or 2 fingers. So lean to the side, 1, 2. I'm not counting the time it takes me to go into the stretch. I'm counting the time it's taking me in the stretch as my 2 seconds. 1, 2, and to the side again, 1, 2. Now in this position, I'm catching the middle scalene because my head is in a neutral position. I'm literally just side bending, I'm laterally flexing. If I wanted to catch more the anterior scalene, there's a couple of different things I could do. I could either lean my head kind of diagonally, that I would go back as well as to the side, and now I'm feeling that a little bit more forward on my neck. Or I could rotate towards the side I'm trying to stretch. So here I'm stretching my right side. I'm going to turn my chin to the right and lean to the side. So either rotation or movement forward or back. So if I was stretching my middle scalene, I might go to the side. If I was stretching my anterior scalene, I might go back or turn into it and go back. Next, we want to look at the pectoralis minor. The pec minor can pull down the whole shoulder girdle, decrease the space between the ribs and the shoulder girdle, and cause some nerve compression again. So for this one, we can very simply bring the hands behind the head. We want to be careful not to push the head forward. You're going to bring your elbows back and then up to the ceiling. 1, 2, and relax. Back and up, 3, 4, and relax. One of the muscles that I think is probably the most important to deal with is the bicep. And I think this is an overlooked muscle when it comes to its impact on the shoulder. So for this one, what's important is when you're reaching back, bringing the arm into hyperextension, we want to be careful not to simply roll the shoulder, because then no change is actually taking place in the angle between my humerus, my arm bone, and my shoulder girdle, where this is attaching onto the scapula. So I need to stabilize my shoulder blade, and the best way to think of this is bring your shoulder blade back and down like you're putting it in your back pocket, and then you're going to reach back. Now we can do this in a number of positions. So I'm going to start off with my palm facing forward. Shoulder comes back and down, and I extend the arm, 1, 2, and relax. 3, 4, and relax. 5, 6, and relax. And so on up to the desired number of repetitions. Normally we'd recommend between 10 or 20, but you can do more, particularly if the muscle is very tight and is slow to respond. I can change the focus and start working different fibers within the muscle by changing the position of my hand. So now my palm is in towards my side, shoulder blade is back and down, and I extend again, and it will feel slightly different. Sometimes even if the fibers that I'm stretching are tighter, I'll actually experience less range of motion. I can turn my palm forward and do the same thing. And with this, I can even bring in a little bit of finger and wrist extension. I'll feel this down into my forearm because I'm stretching a whole fascial train. You can try turning the palm out, palm forward, palm in. And like we were talking about with the neck, it's not necessary to do all of the permutations. We don't have to stretch in all of these multiple positions, but when we are stretching, it's good to go through each of these positions and see where feels tightest. There is then the forearm muscles, and there's a way to do this without compromising the wrist, because a lot of people who are suffering from repetitive strain can get things like carpal tunnel syndrome. I'm going to use my left hand in this case. My thumb is going around the back of my wrist. My fingers are going across the thenar and hypothenar, the heel of my hand. And I'm going to decompress. I'm pulling the hand, my right hand away, and then I'm going to reach towards the floor. 1, 2, and relax. Decompress. 3, 4, and relax. And again, we can do this really a minimum of counting up to 10. I usually recommend counting up to 20. So this decompresses the wrist and stretches out the muscles, and as we said, activates the opposite muscles, which helps to balance out tone between these opposing muscle groups. For the fingers then, what we're going to do is maintain a fairly neutral wrist, and you're going to actively again reach back. So you're using the extensor muscles, and you can use the other hand this time to slightly deepen the stretch. If you're hypermobile and your fingers are bending way back, you may not need this stretch. One more muscle that is sometimes tight, particularly if we spend a lot of time with our palms down in this pronated position. We have a pronator muscle that does that, and it can become short and tight. How do you know if it's tight? Well, look at range of motion. If the muscle is tight, you will lose range of motion. You won't be able to rotate that your palm is facing directly up to the ceiling. If the muscle is tight, you'll stop a little short of that. So we can again assist this process by slightly adding pressure. Now, how I'm going to do this is I'm making sure that I'm gripping the radius and start of the carpals. I don't want to hold at the hand. I don't want to hold up here, because then as I twist, I'm actually torsioning the carpals. And that has a potential for maybe displacing, pushing a carpal out of position. Not dislocating, but pushing it out of its ideal position. It might lose its centration, its central position where it should be. So I'm going to hold on the thumb side, but I'm on the forearm. So I can supinate and deepen the stretch. Supinate and deepen the stretch. And again, it's only a couple of pounds of pressure. It's not a very strong overpressure. This is intended as a general guide rather than specific targeted therapy, but it is looking at some of the potential areas that may be irritating nerves as they travel from the spinal cord down into the fingers and hand. If you are getting any severe or consistent symptoms, be sure to consult a healthcare professional. Make sure that there isn't some underlying cause that needs to be addressed. So I hope that you enjoyed this short video on stretching for therapists. And if you do have any comments, please leave them in the comment section, or you can email us at info@hcd. If there's more stretches you'd like to see or structures you'd like to see us focus on, be sure and get in contact with us. You can also find a lot of information on our website. We have our YouTube channel that has a lot of our past videos as well. If you found this one good, you can take a look at some of those. And we also deliver seminars both here in Ireland and around the world. So check our website for dates and courses that are coming up. Or if you'd like us to travel to you to deliver a seminar, be sure and get in touch. Thanks for watching.